My angels, if you are not feeling good enough or you are not quite feeling yourself, you're feeling a little bit down in the dumps, you're struggling to get yourself out of that loop mindset that keeps us stuck and stagnant, then this video is for you. I'm going to go through a few things to help you to switch your mindset and get yourself out of this place that you might be in right now. It is so normal, right? It's so normal for us to feel like this and for us to go into a place where we don't feel like there's much movement, where we want change, but we're not sure where to start, or there may be different options for you and you don't know what option to take, or maybe that there are no options and you feel very much stuck and trapped in your life. First of all, I want to remind you, this is temporary. How you are feeling right now is not going to last forever. And although we can get ourselves into this place where we spiral and spiral and spiral, you do have the power to get yourself out of it, and you can get yourself out of it, and you will get yourself out of it. It's so easy to say this, right? It's so easy for me to sit here and say this. When we're in those moods and those moments, the worst thing you can do is stay in your head, right? Because your thoughts are tricking you right now. When we keep telling ourselves we're not good enough, or we're this, or we're that, or we're down talking to ourselves, our thoughts are overtaking and they're allowing our feelings to expand into a place that is not benefiting how we are moving forward. Therefore, we're going to feel stuck, right? Because it's not propelling us forward, how we're thinking. And as much as I always say, you are not your thoughts, you create them. When we are feeling this way, it doesn't feel like we create them. It feels like there's a bloody devil in our mind, right? And that we can't get a hold of it. It's the demons in our head and we can't get a hold of it and we don't know how to and we don't know what to do. What you do is you get out of your head. You get up and do the things that you really don't want to do, right? You have to break the pattern, okay? We have to break the pattern. Even if that is getting your shoes on and going for a walk. You don't even have to brush your hair, right? Even if it's going to the gym, even if it's just getting in the shower, it's just one step. We can really get ourselves into this spiral and into this loop, and it is a slippery slope once we get onto it, but it takes one different move. It takes one different move to pull yourself out of it. The longer you sit there and you dwell and you think about it, the harder it's going to become, right? So we have to bring ourselves out of it in one way or another. Once we've broken that pattern, even if it's something small, that's when we start doing more and more and more and more small things to then eventually eliminate the thought processes that are not benefiting us, which is possible, right? You can do this. You can check out Release and Reframe on my website. This is how you actually reframe those negative thoughts. We remove them and replace them for something that is going to benefit you. When we're in this place, our emotions get involved too. And it can become too much and it can become a lot to do that kind of work. We don't think about doing those mindset techniques, right? We don't think about doing those things when we're in that place. It's those small steps that you can take in order to bring yourself out of it, like going for a walk, like just brushing your hair, like just doing something that is slightly different to what you've been doing. And now I'm talking about when you're on the slope of feeling stuck. You're really in that negative thought pattern. I do have a video on how to release overthinking, so it's definitely worth going to look at that. I've written down a few things to hopefully pull yourself out of where you are if you are not feeling good enough and you're kind of can feel yourself going down this spiral. Also watching things like this, right? We don't want to be watching things where we're going to be comparing ourselves to people, or where we're going to be bringing ourselves down even more, or watching sad films. We want to be watching things that are going to shift us out of this feeling, because the thing is, I'm like a broken record. I always talk about this duality, light and dark. You have to have the sad in order to have the happy. It is a law of the universe. It is what it is. You know, we have those low vibration and those high vibration emotions. They're the opposite of each other because we have duality in life, even in spiritual concepts, even in concepts of life. Taking control of your life and letting go and trust in the universe, right? They're opposite things, but they're actually the same. Okay, so there is a duality within everything. And it's the same with you. There is a duality within you. You have your masculine energy and your feminine energy. You have your happiness and your sadness. Your emotions have a duality, but it's learning how to flow through them, like that yin yang, right? It's flowing into each energy, each emotional source point. It's going through each one. And so remind yourself, when you're in a dark, dark place, you can't go any darker, right? When you're low, there has to be the light. It's finding it. It's finding that gap so you can find the light. When you are feeling stuck, it's because you're about to propel into movement. It's the duality of life. A good thing to remember, a mindset shift that I want to remind you of when you're not quite feeling good enough, is that there is only one you, and there is only one you for a reason, right? And that reason is because you are enough. We don't need any more of you. You are more than enough as you are, right? So it's reminding yourself that we don't have to compare ourselves to everyone else. There is a reason that we are all different. There is a reason that it is difficult for you right now, because there is greatness on the other side of it. There is greatness on the other side of how you are feeling, because it is the duality of life. There is only one you. If you are questioning the way you look, if you are questioning your mind, if you're questioning who you are as a person, first of all, know, in terms of your mind or your intelligence, it can be changed. Same with your appearance, to be fair, but that's not what we want to do here. We want to accept who we are. We chose this body and we chose this vessel for a reason. Every single one of your ancestors went through everything they went through for you to have this vessel, for you to have the hair that you have, to have the skin that you have, to have the nose that you have, to have the body that you have. They went through all of that so you could have it, so we can appreciate it and we can nurture it and we can love it. There is one you for a reason, and that is perfect exactly as it is, regardless of what other people say. When people say or put you down or keep you in this looped pattern of going down this slippery slope of not feeling good enough, it's because it's a reflection of how they actually feel about themselves, right? And we have to remember that when people are talking down to us, it's because in one way or another, in some other area of their life, they're not feeling good enough. So therefore, they're putting you down in order to make themselves feel better, which obviously does not work long term, but it can do in the moment, which is not right at all. But it is the truth of it. And we have to remind ourselves that there is only one me for a reason, and I get to do this how I want to do this. I get to live this life how I want to live this life. The second one, it only exists in your mind if you allow it to. So what I mean by that is those negative thoughts that you have is because you are allowing them to exist there. Now, like I said at the beginning, we have to break that pattern and then we can start working on our mindset, right? We have to get ourselves out of that low point and get ourselves into a bit more of a middle ground. Doesn't matter, we're a little bit low, but get ourselves into more of a middle ground so we can work on our mindset. Although in saying that, I have done healing sessions and have done work with people who are at a all-time low. But I mean, if you are by yourself and you are in the moment and you slowly get yourself out of it, when you're like in a real bad mood, you don't want to hear that, oh, you have a choice of how you feel. Like, it's just not what you want to hear at the time. But it is good to know and to remind yourself when you are you're starting to get into a better place. Remind yourself, I have control of this. Know that it exists in my mind because I'm allowing it to, and I do have control of this. And like I say, another one is, it is temporary. I have control of this. And it is temporary. How I'm feeling right now is temporary. I am enough how I am. And when we realize that we can change our mindset and we realize that we can actually reframe those negative beliefs that make us feel like we're not good enough, that's where the real healing is. If you are feeling like you're not good enough and you always find yourself go back to this place, so you know, we can't bypass life. There's always going to be things in life. Say that if something happens at work, there's an argument, it takes you back to not feeling like everything you do is never enough. You have an argument within your relationship, or you have a relationship breakdown. Oh, I just don't look pretty enough. Oh, I just don't feel good enough, right? If it always takes you back there, every trigger takes you back to I'm not good enough, where is the root? When was the first time you didn't feel good enough? Think back. When was the first time you didn't feel good enough? When was the first time I didn't feel good enough? Why do I feel this way about myself? And I can guarantee you it will be attached to an experience, probably in childhood, right? It'll be attached to something, an event where somebody projected that onto you. And it's about recognizing it, accepting it, acknowledging it so we can move forward from it. It's knowing that it actually isn't true. It's just an experience that we had that taught us that. It's not real. It's not true. It's not a fact. It's not a fact that you're not good enough. It's just that you experienced something that made you feel like you are not good enough. And therefore, this keeps replaying out in your life, right? Because the mind will always try and prove you right as well. If you think in the back of your mind you're not good enough, it's always going to find things around you to prove that you're not quite good enough in stuff. It's always going to bring things to you that you're maybe not as talented in. So then you end up attracting that more and more. And the way we break that pattern is we figure out why and the root cause to why I don't feel good enough. And then we start affirming a new belief into the mindset. We figure out where it comes from. Okay, accept and acknowledge this. I release this through writing a letter, whoever it was in your childhood that made you not feel good enough or made you feel like you had to seek outside of yourself for love and validation. Write a letter of forgiveness when you are ready, write a letter of forgiveness and move forward with it. It's shadow work. When you aren't feeling good enough, we have to look at the darker parts of ourselves and the darker things that we have experienced so we can let go of them, so that we can release them. And affirmations can really help. Daily affirmations can really, really help in instilling a better belief system and believing in yourself. The more you tell your mind something, the more it believes you. And if you keep telling it you're not good enough, the more it's going to believe you. You have to flip the switch and tell yourself that you are. Okay, I'm not very good at something right now. It doesn't mean I can't learn. If there's something you're trying to achieve within your workplace, there's something you're trying to achieve and you just can't seem to pass it or to do it or to accomplish it, that's okay because we're learning. We're going to learn how to do it. It doesn't mean I can't ever do it. It means I can't do it right now. But that doesn't mean every time that I fail at it that I'm not going to learn something. There is so much growth in failure. Failure is the best thing you can do. I actually look forward sometimes to failure. When something fails, I think, oh, there's a lesson here. If something doesn't work out within my business or something doesn't work out somewhere in my life, I think there's a lesson somewhere, right? There is always a lesson. There's always growth to be had. And that leads me straight to my next one. You can always evolve. You can always change. You can, and it is possible. I said this in one of my posts the other day. Your toxic behaviors and the things that you've experienced is not who you are. It's who you've been taught to be. Your whole life is built up on a systematic structure. Your whole life is brought up on a perception that you have had to view the world and the world outside of yourself. So the way you view yourself is because of that structure. And if you want to change the way you view yourself, you have to break down that structure. So you have to break down your mindset. It is possible to grow from the things of the past. It is possible to evolve. It is possible to change. Now, I'm not saying that you have to change because you're not good enough now, because you are good enough now. But by evolving, we're not necessarily changing. We're actually just finding our true self. And that's what it is finding who you truly are underneath all these negative beliefs that you've been taught about yourself. And it is possible to do that, and you can do that. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope this has helped you. If you are wanting to find some mindset techniques, then definitely go check out the website. There is so much stuff on there. We also have Divinity, the self-love and confidence course, which science-backed and spiritual techniques, proven results. We've got quite a few women in on that program now. So if you want to go and check it out, I suggest that you do so. It will really help you to boost your confidence and to believe in yourself and to rewire that mindset that keeps you in that cycle and gets you on that slippery slope. Lots of love to you, my darlings, and I will see you next week in the next video.